And you know what time it is. Good morning, Chicago, and everyone who can hear us beyond Chicago. It's your girl, LaDonna Ray with Ray Consulting, and I am a proud member of the Illinois State Black Chamber of Commerce. Welcome to the Wake Up Show, Chicago, ladies and gentlemen. Now, this show is powered by Illinois State Black Chamber of Commerce, almost also known as ILBCC, and proudly sponsored by Wind Creek Casino Southland. You should go check them out. Each and every Saturday morning, we are here at 9 a.m. and that's Central Time. And we're coming to you live at WVON 1690 a.m. and streaming everywhere in the world on iHeartRadio. Make sure you subscribe to our YouTube channel. It's the Wake Up Show or Wake Up Show Chicago for exclusive content. And write this number down because I want you to call in. Don't be scared. Dial 773-591-1690 to join in on the conversation. No matter what it is, I'm sure you have something to say. I want to take a moment in it and acknowledge our fearless leader, Dr. Larry Ivory. He is the president and CEO of the Illinois State Black Chamber of Commerce and chairman of the board for the National Black Chamber of Commerce in Washington, D.C. Now, he's not with us today. He's out getting some things done, including calling people and letting them know you better be on that cruise come next Thursday, the VIP dinner cruise that's happening here in Chicago. But we thank you for his continued leadership and advocacy. And for those of you that are new to our family, the Illinois State Black Chamber of Commerce is the largest voice for Black business in Illinois, helping entrepreneurs access state contracts, capital certifications, strategic partnerships, and I heard they're doing some debt collections, okay? Let that sit for a minute. Somebody owe you and you remember, consider it done. Whether you're just starting out or scaling up, we're here to remove roadblocks and unblock real opportunities. And that's ilbcc.org for more information. Today, I'm joined by my dynamic guest co-host, actor, and entrepreneur, Lorenzo T. Hughes. Good morning.
Grand rising, everybody, and welcome to the Wake Up Show here with the Illinois State Black Chamber of Commerce.
I love it when you say grand rising. Well, I said good morning, but watch this. Today, we have not only a powerhouse person in media and marketing, she is also our co-chair of the Illinois State Black Chamber of Commerce's marketing committee, alongside with yours truly. But she is the CEO of Brown Farmer Media in Atlanta. And that's a company that's shaping political and corporate narratives across the country. Please, Lorenzo, we got to give it up for Miss Deborah Olivia Farmer.
Yes,
we got to welcome her to the show for real.
Welcome.
I hear some hand clapping. That's what I'm talking about. Shakira.
Oh, one person.
Yes. No, that was a whole crowd of people.
Hi, good morning.
Good morning. Good morning. So, the topic of our show is marketing beyond the click. And Deborah, in this age of digital overload, well, I guess before I tell or ask you this question, why don't you give us an extended summary of your company? Because I just gave a little bit of a peek.
Sure. First off, good morning, grand rising, all the things. I'm still on a high after Juneteenth. So I'm trying to rock my, red, black, and green this morning. I'm really excited to talk with you all. Just for understanding, my firm was founded in Chicago, Illinois. I worked in the television industry for a good chunk of time. And I just parlayed that into a business where basically we work with organizations to elevate their brands through marketing campaigns, through, digital media strategies, community engagement, all the things. Our purpose really is to help you elevate your mission and your brand through strategic partnerships as well. So again, we are based in Chicago. I am in Atlanta as well. So we have dual, residency, if you would say, for our business.
I would say that I didn't want to give it away. So I just gave you one area of location there. But today's topic with the events that are going on, all you see online are networking events and opportunities. But I don't think people really understand the importance of in person, in the room, being presented in front of someone and actually exchanging information and words. So in this age of digital overload, Why is it still so important for businesses to show up in the room and not just online?
To be quite honest with you, we are experiencing digital fatigue. We're TikToking, we're Zooming. I prefer Google Meet. There are other platforms where you can communicate, but there is nothing like the in person connection. I think, again, for myself, when I'm clear on my strengths, winning others over is my top strength. And you can't do that digitally. You have to lean in, be in person, have an opportunity to, hand a firm handshake, some cases for me, a hug, eye contact, and those things can only really take place in person. So I would hope that we would have that understanding that we just can't live behind these, computer screens. We need to lean in person.
Some people just aren't comfortable with that. They have gotten, because I know I wasn't born into the digital age. I was born into come ring the doorbell,
Yeah.
come to the
Right.
event, actually pass out what we called pluggers back in the Chicago days.
Hmm.
But now you have these young entrepreneurs that were born into the digital age where this is all they know, especially with COVID.
Hmm.
Things have flipped the switch quickly. But how effective is going digital all the time? It can't be. You know what I'm saying? People still need to put a face with the voice in person.
They do. And I'm, really strong in that space of knowing that you need to have these in person connections. You can have 1 million followers, but can you really make any impact when it comes down to making a decision, getting something done? You mentioned something right off the top, and I'll just, lean into giving, Dr. Larry Ivory some kudos. You have access to a Larry Ivory. He picks up the phone on your behalf. That's not, oh, let me send an email, let me make a phone call. And you have impact when you're able to do that. And that's not by way of, traction and numbers and metrics around your social media.
That's definitely a personal connection. Can I ask
Hmm.
this question here,
Yeah.
um, Miss Deborah? So I totally agree with the intimacy and the personal connection with the in person marketing. But how powerful is it, or how important is it for us to be taking advantage of digital media right now? Because, like, right now, digital media is free for us to use to market, and we can reach a larger number
Well,
of people
define
that way.
free, because
when I when I
I
say,
know I
well,
gotta pay.
I'm saying, when, like, you mentioned, people having 1,000 followers, 5,000 followers, but you have to ask the question, how many of those followers are paying you for your services?
Okay.
Yeah.
So when I say using these digital media platforms, are we using those platforms to the best of our ability to market our businesses and our services?
Good question.
Well, I mean, some people are, some people are not, right? You just can't rely on that. It's just not an all in approach when you look
Mm,
at the digital landscape, right? It's very effective, or it wouldn't be, right? So we know that, especially to the end of moving products, things of that sort, when you have influencers attached to it, that helps as well. But it just can't be the only way, right? And so, you have a lot of attraction around the metrics of whatever your numbers might be, but people still do pop-ups, people still do in-store appearances and things of that sort, because they know they just can't rely on that.
And this kind of goes along with the ROI of being present. Like, we always talk about impressions online, but what about the lasting impressions made at the dinner table? Now, there's a way to merge offline and online strategies. What's the best way to capture the magic of like a live event and repurpose it for your marketing channels, Deborah, in your opinion?
Yeah, because everyone can be present, right? So in the event, just let's talk about the upcoming event on Thursday, which is the VIP boat cruise. Not everyone can be there, right?
Let's put dinner in there so everybody knows there will be
Dinner,
food
well,
served.
dinner. Well, yes, it will be. We'll be partaking in some beverages and some dinner. But to that point, you're going to have a lot of folks that will be present, but there will be people that can't come. But the value add is the content that you gather while folks are there so that you can market it for the next group of people so that they won't have FOMO, right? Like, oh, I need to be there next year because they were able to, communicate the essence of the event, the people that were present. And oftentimes, we're sitting back scrolling through social media and we're like, oh my God, I wish I was there, right? So we do know that there is some value to the content, the digital element. But for me, there's nothing like being in person, being able to connect, shake a hand, hug someone, or even for them to say, oh, now they'll be
Mhm.
more responsive because you're in their face, right? You
Now,
know,
do you realize that our audience, not everyone in our audience will know what FOMO is? Break it
okay.
down.
Yes, fear of missing out.
Yeah.
We all
Yeah.
have that. That's a that listen, go forget the digital age, right? If someone's having a house party and you're not there, you're like, oh my God, who was there and why wasn't I there when you get the recap? So it's no different in real time of the digital media landscape.
Yeah. Now, one thing I want to point out is when you're going to these network events, you have to be that P word,
Mhm.
prepared.
Present. Oh, and present.
Yes, prepared and present. And because of the preparation that's needed when you're in the room, because a lot of people, I'll never forget 50 Cent's book. What was it called? Oh
Get
goodness.
rich or die trying.
Thank you.
Yeah.
And in the book, he said people that knew him growing up would come up to him and say, "Hey man, put me on, put me on." Even people that didn't know him would say, "Put me on, put me on." And he's like, "Put you on to what?" That stuck with me, even from a book from 50 Cent. And no shade because Brother Man had a whole water company and he's all the way on stars with
Hmm.
all of his productions, right? But if you say for someone to put you in the room, you got to have your stuff. Like you got to know what to say. I'll never
Yeah.
forget. I left money on the table many times before I learned my lesson. And that was many years ago when I was in the room with someone and just thought that smile was enough.
Mm-mm.
I was not prepared. So as I got older and matured in my business, I had to be prepared with my elevator pitch. I had to be able to navigate the waters of any conversation and be able to strategically talk about the work that I do in order for it to be relevant to the person I'm speaking to. So
Absolutely.
that's
Absolutely.
part of being
It,
prepared. What say you,
Absolutely.
Deborah?
Well, I think the other piece too, and it goes beyond just being present in the room, like you're a number in this room. You have to have real intentions on why you're in the room. For me, it's who do I want to meet or talk to while in this room, right? I'm an extrovert, so it's no issue for me to have small talk. I know it gives people the heebie jeebies, they cringe when they have to do that. But I've even gone beyond the small talk. I'm intentional. I want to go in this room, meet this particular person and get this mission accomplished, right? And so you have to have a strategy when you go into these rooms. It's not just a matter of being in there for the photo ops. Who cares? If you're not leaving out of there closing a deal or at least getting you to that next level, you were just a participant. You were just a bystander in this space, right? And then the other layer here, too, when you think about the digital landscape, it makes it easier, but we're talking about what makes it stick. I think what
Oh,
makes it stick is when you're able to have someone to follow up. You've given them
mhm.
your card, their email address, but they remember you because you made an impact. And to your
Hmm.
point of missing the opportunity, it's bigger than a smile. What's your elevator pitch?
That's right.
What are you talking about? What can you do for this particular person that you're trying to win over, in my case? And you have to be real intentional about that.
All right. Well, I'm going to go. We have a caller. I do see. Hey, Tommy, I see you. I'm not picking you up just yet. Give me 1 second because what I want to do is I want to talk to people real quick and remind them that the VIP dinner cruise is next Thursday. And we want you to be prepared when you come on the boat. It is not just, I used to refer to R. Kelly's boat music videos, but I guess I have to change a little bit. If you think about dignitaries and leaders and thought leaders and people who have the same mindset when it comes to business, on one cruise, it's like putting them all in one room, except there's ventilation. Okay.
Mm.
And there will be obviously dinner, DJ, music, all of those things. Those elements are going to be part of that. But what you do is most important. Those elements don't make this the most important thing. So I want you guys to, I know you've already marked your calendar for next Thursday, July 26th. And that is our annual, we do this every year, VIP dinner cruise. And that's going to be on the Spirit of Navy Pier. Now, if you haven't registered already, go to ilbcc.org and you'll see a calendar of events. Once you click on calendars or calendar, you'll see the event for July 26th. Just go ahead and hit register and you can pay right through the website. If you have any issues or concerns or questions, you can certainly call the phone number that's on our website, which I wish I knew by heart. I should. I've been with the chamber since 2016. But make sure you register. Enjoy fine dining. The view is beautiful. You have more than enough to talk about. Bring your best. Okay. I traditionally, Deborah, I saw that you registered. I know you're going to be there. I
Yep.
traditionally wear a white dress on the cruise. I've had a different white dress last year. I wore a white dress that I got from this online place. Look, I'm not promoting anybody that ain't promoting me. But
Yep.
I got it from this online place. And this lady, she said, "Oh, I love that dress." And she had her glass of wine. Her biggest fear was spilling wine on my dress. She said, "I don't want to spill wine on this dress. I can't afford to replace it." She had no idea I paid $35 for that dress, right? And I was thinking in my head, well, if she did spill something, I'll just buy another one. But I just said, "Oh, okay, well, thank you." But we had that type of conversation. It's that relaxing, but also we still got some business things taken care of. Lorenzo, do you want to bring our caller on?
Yes, our caller that we have is Tommy.
Hey, Tommy.
Tommy, what do you got for us?
Well, this is what I have for you, and it goes like this. I just wanted to say good morning to Miss LaDonna Ray.
Good
I
morning.
simply wanted to thank her for the her contributing on last week. I would suggest to everybody on Juneteenth, if you're not listening to these inspiring people, if at this moment in time in our lives and the reality in which we find ourselves, that you're looking for hope, you're looking for inspiration, you're looking for direction, I can tell you that listening to you is why I can say I sing the blues. Because, see, I've experienced and I have lived, and every time I think, hey, man, it's over, that's when he steps in and shows me that you can't walk by sight, you have to walk by faith, and you have to be able to open your hearts and minds to inspiring people such as Miss LaDonna Ray. I have followed your career. God bless you, God keep you, and that's not a downtrot to the rest of you, because I've heard all of you, and you're inspirational. And you're going to catch hell for everything you do. Because, see, we're at a time now, people ain't listening to no truth. They'll believe a lie. I don't want to take up any more time, because this ain't no time for singing sob stories and
No.
crying and getting in your emotion. This is a moment and a time to realize that people died believing that this generation would rise. And I'm thankful to have leaders such as you.
Well, thank
God
you,
bless you.
Tommy.
Thank
Thank
you,
you.
Tommy.
It's
Thank
always
you.
a pleasure when he calls in.
What?
Oh, yeah,
Yeah,
go
if I can
ahead.
ask this.
Wait, well, I got to
Okay, go
correct
ahead.
something
Okay, go ahead.
because
Go ahead.
all three, we're all registered. But did I
Yeah.
say July 26th? It's
You
June
did.
26th. It's
June, you
June
did, and I didn't even catch that, but I did catch it. That's like now.
26th.
Okay, yep. Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
So I was
I'm
You know
looking
what
at
not
my
you meant.
calendar on my phone. I was
yeah,
like, wait a minute.
I see the question marks. I didn't know what it was. Okay, I apologize, everyone. The boat cruise is this coming Thursday. So if you look at next week's date, next week's date is not July, it's June 26th. Make sure that you register for the June 26th VIP dinner cruise. Thanks, Jesse.
Yes.
Go ahead.
And Deborah, let me ask you this question. I know you had mentioned having your elevator pitch put together, and with what you do as far as marketing, and one of the things that I learned, and you're probably already doing this, is educating people how to put their elevator pitch together, because some
Mm-hmm.
people in some of these rooms, they don't know how to even introduce themselves. If you give them a microphone and say, tell us what it is that you do, especially young people, young entrepreneurs that are coming into the arena, they find it difficult to even talk about what it is that they do. If you can give us some insight on how we can grow and put that together when we get in these circles.
Yeah, no. It's funny because that is part of even for some organizations, like what is it that you do, right? And being able to communicate that out. So it's very important that you keep it high level. People, when you're out, especially at a networking event, it's not for you to monopolize the time of the individual.
Come
They're
on, somebody.
Yes.
trying to get to other folks as well. So they really only have a short window of time, not only just to be present with you, but to really be engaged, right?
Hmm.
So in
I
as
like
much as they might be there with you, vibing and listening to you, they're literally like pivoting to see who they're going to go to next, right? So you only have a short window of time. So my really bit of advice is just to keep it short and sweet, right? You don't
it.
have to go through 30 years of what you've done. Just keep it real high level, hit it and quit it. And I always say lead with what it is that you do, but end with what you can do for them. Because
I
people
love
Yes.
that.
sending from me. People listen. We're all selfish at best. Let's just be clear. I mean, we may have some givers out there, some empaths, folks that want to help and heal the world. But at the end of the day, most people are concerned with what's in it for me.
Mm.
Right. What
You know,
problem
and
can you solve?
and I do want to mention, and I know that because see, Deborah, I know these terms, but I used to teach these terms at the school here in Chicago, and high level does not mean sound like you're the highest person on the peak mountain. Okay,
No.
high level is a summation of what you do to give the person you're speaking to a big picture of what you can do for them. And I just want to make that clear because I
Yeah.
think that these we get caught up in the word eloquency. I hope I said that right. And
Being
it
eloquent.
and it
Yeah.
yes, and it can make things a little muddy. And at the end of the conversation, they still don't know what you do because you're so caught up in,
Yeah.
the usage of your words. So
And you want
just
to be authentic. People can read
yeah,
through
come
that as
on.
well to know if you're like basically have a rehearsed, speech. You want to know what you're talking about. And I think if you're authentic and true to what it is you're doing, it doesn't have to be, a prepared situation. I mean, yes, you want to come prepared, and maybe that's not the proper way to put it, but it should not seem so scripted. It should seem really authentic. It should flow, and people should be able to pull out who you are in that.
Your script. You need to know your lines.
Yeah, you do.
Absolutely. Well, I have some statistics here. Lorenzo, I was looking up what percentage of consumers, and Deborah as well, what percentage of consumers say they develop positive brand perception after attending an in-person event? Guess what percentage that is?
What's that?
What?
72% consumers say that they develop a positive brand perception after attending an in-person event. And face-to-face interactions are 34 times more effective than an email alone. And I want to talk to you, Deborah, about the email because now, after going and meeting them in person, how do you follow up? Do you follow through with that? Because it's so easy to collect back in the day a bunch of business cards, and the since we're in digital technology, we're collecting phone numbers. And sometimes, how many times have you, everyone listening, have you gone back through your phone and you can't remember the name of the person you got a phone number from?
Hmm. Yeah, no,
That
that.
is that can be hell for real because now you just wasted all that time and all that money at a networking event and you don't know who you met.
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah,
no.
what are your thoughts?
The golden era here of follow up is real, right? I mean, that's where the coins are. That's where the next level to the connection is, and it's follow up in an efficient manner. And follow up quickly because people forget, and then also when you follow up, you have to give them something to remember you by, oh, to your point, you're talking to the young lady, you had the white dress on. That would be something that you would include in your follow up. Hey, remember me, the white dress? However, you want to do that, you have to give them a reason to remember why and how they met you as well. But the follow up is the most important piece. You can go home with a stack of business cards all you want. If you're not following up with those folks, you really have done nothing.
Deborah, I didn't
Right.
follow up with the lady with the wine. You just
Lord,
reminded me. I
no,
hope she's
you
there
have
this year.
to. You have to. And I say you, and again, even on the end of follow up, for me and my signature is my name, but it's also my photo.
Yeah.
right?
Mhm.
And so you mentioned going to this event every year in your white dress. Maybe
Mhm.
that's your branding piece,
It
right? We
is.
have to find something that allows us to stand out from
Mhm.
the crowd. There's a lot of noise out there, right? And so if you want to be a part of this particular situation where you can stand out, you have to find a reason to make yourself, stand out as well.
Agreed. And guys, you're listening to the Wake Up Show Chicago, powered by the Illinois State Black Chamber of Commerce and sponsored by Wind Creek Casino Southland. And we're on WVON, and that means you can give us a call at 773-591-1690. My co-host today, guest co-host, is Lorenzo T. Hughes, and our special guest and member of the chamber is Deborah Olivia Farmer. And a lot of you listening already know who she is. Deborah, I have known you and of you for over 20 years, and it's 21 to be exact.
Okay.
And all I have known is that your ability to, it's not who you know, it's who remembers you.
Hmm.
And there are so many people that are very familiar with the Deborah Olivia brand, and I say your first and middle name together because here we are, where you're not just a marketing and branding agency, you also have products. And I forgot to wear my lip gloss
Oh
by
yeah.
Deborah Olivia. And I was very pleased to have, displayed it. And every time I wear that brand, I get nothing but compliments. It's almost like saying you can have multiple streams of income, but when you have multiple streams of income and you do so many things, how do you approach a networking event? How do you decide which approach to use in that moment?
That's very, very, very good. So, to your point, and in full disclosure, I'm an island girl. My dad's from Barbados, so I am definitely of the mindset and thought that you need to have multiple streams. I was raised to not rely on Mr. Charlie, and so in that regard, there are several. Brands that I have, right? And one of them being, as you just mentioned, the products, the accessories, right? But I always say for those that have multiple streams or multiple things, lead with your moneymaker. So,
Mm,
and then also make certain that the room that you're in, that it's appropriate for that room, right? And so
mhm,
for me, Brown Pharma Media Group is my source. That's my business. These other pieces are, if you would, extensions of that business, right? And so I don't oftentimes even talk about my products in most rooms that I'm in, because when
Mhm.
I look at these high level executives, it's not to minimize the effort that I put into the Deborah Olivia products, the lipstick, the lids, and the lenses. No. But most cases, those folks in that room, they don't want to hear that piece because that doesn't
mm.
benefit them. It
But
benefits,
what about FOMO, fear of missing out? I
well,
want to tell you everything that I do because I do
Well,
so
you
much.
just you can't. You just got to be smart. And I think in
Yeah.
that case again, you have to pick what makes best sense for where you are. Now, if I'm at a women's conference, then I'm talking about the Deborah Olivia brand because I know women, we love to shop, we like products and things of that sort. So I may not lead with Brown Farmer Media Group. I'm also an adoption advocate. I am passionate about that space. I don't in
Mhm,
every room talk about that, but I do in most cases, especially if I'm having a personal conversation, I talk about that.
mhm,
And most times, I will tell you, probably 85% of the time that I mention that I'm an adoption advocate and that I've adopted a child, most people tear up. They're like, oh my God, this is what I've always wanted to do. So then I lean into that space and I may pull away from Brown Farmer Media Group. So you just need to be smart and thoughtful about it and make certain that it connects with your audience.
Mm.
nice. I like that. And it makes sense. We have another caller. Let's pick up Kay. Hi, Kay. Good morning.
Okay.
Kay, you're on the Wake Up Show Chicago.
Yes, how are you doing,
Doing
Miss
well.
Donna and guest?
Yes, swell-tastic. What you got
I
for
was
us?
I want to know, is the cruise a members only or any business owner can come?
No, it is open to business owners or individuals that want to come out and are thriving to become business owners. So that's why I said like minded people, it's open. Would you like to come, Kay?
Yes, I'm going to get my ticket now.
All right, go to ilbcc.org and go ahead and get purchase your tickets.
Okay, thank you so much.
You're most
God bless
welcome.
you.
All
God
right,
bless
Kay,
you.
we see
It's a
you on
good
the
question.
cruise.
Yeah,
Kay's excited, girl. Get that ticket. She
that's right.
ready.
Yeah, come up and say hello to us. Absolutely.
I love it.
So I want to so I've got one more statistic that I want to go over, and one of that final statistic is when it comes to black owned businesses that invest in networking events, there's a particular percentage of increase in partnerships year over year. What is that percentage? What do you think that percentage is?
Mm.
How much increase do you think they see with partnerships over year?
Oh, I don't know. I'm not good with the.
28%.
Okay. Yeah, I
Almost
would have.
30% increase when they invest in networking events. So we're not talking about, just some run of the mill get-togethers. We're talking about networking events for the purpose of everyone or possibly everyone winning. Absolutely.
When you're budgeting for these types of things as a business owner, it's not just you showing up for the photo ops again. You have to be mindful when you are again spending your dollars for these events, making certain that it makes sense for your bottom line, right? So you want to walk away with maybe a new client or a new partnership. And to your point, I think that's the way to think about it too. Most people go into these rooms and they're like, oh, I want to get this particular business. But you also can find a way to partner with someone that's in that room that will
Mhm.
get you maybe even bigger business.
I'm glad you mentioned partnership.
Yeah.
Lorenzo, you want to say something? I'm going to talk about our
Okay.
sponsors and partnerships.
Real quick, and this is the piggyback off of partnership, and I want to ask this question here because we see this culturally when we're doing business, is that sometimes we draw this wedge in our ability to partner with this with this mental ghost that haunts us, where we always think somebody's going to steal our idea, so it gets in the way of us being able to partner with people that can help us. So we sometimes hold on to information that partner that could actually help us. We tend to hold on to the information needed for them to help us by thinking, man, I don't want this person to steal my idea.
They
So
will
we
take it to
fail
the grave.
to partner with other people that can help us. What can we do as business owners or just as a culture to get over that demon of thinking that somebody's going to steal our idea?
Well, there's an African proverb that reads, if you want to go fast, go alone, and if you want to
Yep.
go far, go together.
Mhm.
And so I think the other layer to this too is, faith and fear cannot reside in the same space. So either
Yeah.
you're going to have faith for your business that things are going to go well, but if you have the fear that everyone's going to rip you off, then you're going to be stuck where you are. Um, the partnership piece is very important, especially in today's times, right? Because if you think about, and I don't know the percentage here, LaDonna, you could possibly look this up, and I should know this, but the number of solopreneurs, it's like the majority of businesses are solopreneurs. It's not, we're running around here, and I'm really skittish when people say CEO. Well, I have staff, but it's everybody's not a CEO just because you're in business, right? So to that end, partnership is very important.
Wow. And speaking of partnership, I'm so proud to mention who our partners and sponsors are. We are proudly powered by a growing coalition of partners who truly understand the value of Black entrepreneurship, not to mention economic justice and community building. So, we are, as I mentioned earlier, we're sponsored by the VIP Cruise, Wind Creek Casino Southland, Constellation, SLG Innovation, IDG Architects, United Airlines, this very radio station, WVON 1690 AM, Supreme Solution, Simcoe Solutions, Allwin, Illinois State Black Chamber of Commerce is so proud to mention one of our members, even Copon Enterprises, and of course, Brown Farmer Media and Ray Consulting. So these are all lovely individuals, or should I say corporations, okay, that have taken the time to sponsor this event. And it's on the strength of Black business and improving and uplifting Black businesses. I know this rollback of DEI, Deborah, is just, it's so messy. And
It is.
everyone's like up in arms about it. But there are some things that we can be doing for the few minutes that we have left. What would you recommend, along with getting out there, putting yourself out there, being prepared, having that elevator pitch, branding yourself? What is it that we as Black entrepreneurs need to do to market ourselves and win?
Well, I mean, I think it's getting out there is a good start, right? No one's going to know that if you have these, great products and you're just, selling them to your friends or not even getting out there, it's not going to help you. I think the DEI piece, I just want to kind of add to that, in as much as it's a horrible thing, because people are really we are being greatly impacted by it. But I think that this is a good opportunity for us in the fire to do what we should have been doing all along, right?
Amen.
Supporting each
Right.
other. So why now do we want to do all these marketplaces and Black Wall Street, this and that, when we should have been doing that anyway? And so I think this is just forcing us to get back to the core of cooperative economics. Going over to Ghana, that's how they work. It's a community effort, right? If I don't have the flour, then the person down the street does have the flour. You have the milk, whatever the case might be, so that we can work collectively,
Mhm.
for the greater good of all of our businesses. And so I think we need to get back to the full essence of that and supporting one another and
Mm.
supporting each other beyond just one purchase, right?
Yeah.
We have people that sell products the year round, right? Go back month, be a, subscriber where you can get these things, monthly, so that you can help these businesses to grow and scale.
Yeah. And how important, and I have those numbers for you. There are approximately 2.6 million Black owned businesses in the United States, and over 1.3 million of them are solopreneurs.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. Let that sit for a minute. But before we get to our updates in Washington with Phoenix strategies in just 1 minute, I wanted to just basically wrap this part of our conversation and say, the VIP dinner cruise coming up next Thursday that you can still register for. There's all of this and more on that cruise and on our upcoming conference in August. These are linkages to success as an individual who is in business thinking that they shouldn't still be in business, and maybe they should, those that are thinking of starting a business, and those that are in business, and corporations listening. You know who you are. You can get involved with the chamber just as well, because we have plenty of space for you guys.
Mm.
If you're thinking of becoming a member of the chamber, corporations, individual businesses, solopreneurs, then go to ilbcc.org. I don't want to sound like an infomercial, Deborah. Is it,
But you
Lorenzo?
should,
Am I
though.
sounding
What
like
are you talking about? See, that's part of the problem there. Why not? This is
yeah,
what you should be doing. Why do we have that
yeah.
reservation when it comes to us promoting us?
There you
Stop it.
go.
Yes. And
Appreciate.
and
Go ahead,
and and
Lorenzo.
if you are a business out there and you're contemplating on shutting your doors, or there's issues that have come up in your business, I would definitely suggest reaching out to the chamber and seeing what the chamber can do for you, because this is all about networking. And sometimes the closing of a business is could be because you have insufficient marketing. Maybe you're not out networking like you should be, and it could be that we don't know who you are or where you're at. So definitely reach out to us.
All right. Well, I got to get on to our next call in. We got to get those updates in Washington. Before we get to that, we want to talk just briefly and mention that there are major agencies like the Chicago Department of Aviation, CTA, Water Reclamation, U of I, and so many more. We're talking about mayors, aldermen, alderwomen, dignitaries, thought leaders. They're all going to be on that boat on one ship, y'all. So
Mm.
make sure you get your tickets now, because I'm going to be there.
Yeah, I'm gonna be there.
I'm gonna
Deborah's
be
going to be
there.
there. Lorenzo's going to be there. Dr. Larry Ivory's going to be there. And the entire ILBCC
Yeah,
crew is going to be there, along with everyone that I just mentioned. Now, let's get on with our next guest. Deborah, don't go anywhere, because you might be able to chime in with this too.
sure.
Watch this. it's time to bring in our Capitol Hill correspondent, Greg Willis. He is the vice president of Phoenix Strategies, a seasoned strategist with over 20 years. I'm sorry, I have to give your experience right here of experience in Washington, D.C., policy and advocacy. Greg, what is happening with the Senate budget
Mr. Greg Willis.
reconciliation bill?
Oh, I call it kabuki theater, right? So there's a lot of posturing going on, but let me give you a quick rundown of what we're looking at, and then we can talk about it any way you want to.
All right.
So what's happening right now in Washington? It sounds like a typical partisan budget fight with Black-owned businesses. The stakes couldn't be higher, right? Senate Republicans are pushing forward with sweeping tax and spending bill that they hope to pass by Independence Day. There's some infighting on the Republican side about what the final package will look like. Some folks are more deficit hawks. Other folks want to protect rural hospitals and tax credits. But in all of that discussion, there hasn't been one word about how this will impact Black businesses or the Black community.
You said rural hospitals?
Excuse me.
Like out in the sticks?
Yeah, they're
Okay.
trying to the House bill would basically cripple those hospitals in terms of the cuts to Medicaid and Medicare. This bill is trying to protect those rural hospitals. They're not trying to protect urban hospitals or hospitals that serve predominantly Black and brown folks.
Yeah.
Right? So here's why that matters. There are many of our businesses that service these urban hospitals, that service these urban health clinics, that money, that funding is going to go away. And so they're not going to have an opportunity to continue to provide those business services to those healthcare providers. Beyond the impact on our healthcare for our citizens, in fact, that we won't be able to see the doctor on a regular basis. The bill also, a secondary bill is also they're trying to do a rescission and to pull back $9.4 billion from programs like PEPFAR. And PEPFAR helps to reduce the incidence of AIDS globally, especially in sub-Saharan Africa. So they're trying to pull that money back so that our folks globally won't have access to be able to combat the AIDS epidemics that are still running rampant across the planet.
This is scary, Greg, because we already had obviously disparities when it comes to healthcare in our communities. This just makes it even worse.
Yeah, no, we're. I don't want to sound too alarmist, but it's hard not to. Right? It's hard not to. The impact of these cuts, the impact of these decisions, it's going to have. My sister is a doctor in rural Arkansas. And I can tell you the population that she services, the people that she sees, the people I grew up with, she depends on Medicaid reimbursement. She depends on Medicare reimbursements, right, to be able to really provide the kind of services that folks in those communities typically don't get. So this is not a small matter. It's something that we need to address. The part of the issue now is in terms of the process. We have the Senate wanting to pass this bill next week. And then they're trying to get it to Trump's desk by July 4th. Whether or not that happens, I don't know. But if they're talking like that now, that means the deal has pretty much already been cut. And that's where the kabuki comes in. So we have to kind of be activated right now. Like we're really late, but right now we need to be raising our voices to kind of discuss these kinds of issues with the folks that represent us.
How do we do that?
And I was just going to ask that question, LaDonna.
Yeah, come on.
So the first thing, we need organizational effort, right? So we need you to call your members of Congress, call your elected officials. You might even want to call folks in other districts, in other states that are Republican leaning. Whether or not you know this, that makes a difference.
Well, can I ask a
when
question?
I work on the Hill, we got to. Oh, sorry. Go ahead.
No, I want to ask a question. We always say we need to call Tyrone. Everybody's always saying, call this person, in such a state of
Mhm.
panic of calling, but they don't provide
Mhm.
a tip sheet on who to call, right? Because now people got to look it up and find, like, is there a concerted
Mhm.
effort on like a tip sheet when these things happen? These are your, based on every state, every city, these are your elected officials. This is their information
Yeah.
versus putting people through the work of finding these numbers, because most cases
Impossible
they
not
don't
call.
know that they have this voice, so they're not calling anyone. So is there an effort
So with
together for that?
Yeah, so with organizations that we as Phoenix Strategies work with, we lay all of that out. We basically will go through, we will match you up to your congressperson, give you the names not only of that member and not only of that office number, but we will tell you who in that office you need to be talking to. Who do you need to ask for when you call? Right? And we will give you a script, and we've done this for other organizations, for other folks. We'll give you a script of what to say. These are the issues that need to be addressed, and these are what we have concerns about, so that folks aren't out there completely unmoored in terms of, calling without direction is better than not calling.
Mhm.
For sure, but I think most
But
people don't know to call. And is there like a outreach, like to the faith-based community, to the schools, the wherever, so that people know? Because most times people don't know that they should be calling or taking action.
right.
And
So
oh, go ahead.
go ahead, Larry. No, go ahead.
I, I totally agree with everything that's being said, but I think it's very important that you bringing this to the table, because this is how policies get passed without us
Right.
knowing about it.
Mm-hmm.
So
Right.
what efforts are being done to get this information out to the faith-based communities and to the public in general, so that we know that this is what's taking place,
Right.
and
Right.
who do we go to take action?
Uh,
Greg, we
that,
putting
that,
you in the
that,
hot seat, man.
Yeah,
We
that's a loaded question.
Because
That's a loaded. Ideally, there would be a national organization here in DC that would do that.
Mhm.
Practically speaking, I'm just going to be honest with you. There are organizations that have particular interests that they advocate on, and they'll hire folks like us, and we help direct them in terms of what they need to say and how they need to organize themselves. Some of the larger organizations that you would think are engaged in this kind of effort, in terms of just broadly speaking, not just on business issues, but because business community, we can rally those folks. And they're pretty well organized, like the chamber. But if you're talking about, I don't want to name names, but if you're talking about, just think about the national organizations that you think about when it's time to have a discussion about what's good for Black folks.
Mhm.
There's not really an effort to engage folks on that level. And I don't know if it's because they don't know how to do it, or they have different interests, but I can tell you that's really not happening. And so us coming on this call, and we have this conversation with folks all the time, trying to educate people, this is what you need to be doing. But we need more people who are doing that work, to be honest with you.
can they go to your website and start there? Or is that
They
not
can call,
recommended?
look, they can call me directly.
Okay, that's what I was getting at. I didn't want to
Yes.
throw you under the bus, but can you give people the information so that we can start somewhere?
So my contact information, you talking about contact information?
Yeah, because when you say
Okay.
call your legislator, call your lawmakers, call here, we need some direction, and then maybe we can
Okay.
create some some ambassadors, and we need to get moving, because this is we're late. We're
Yeah.
late. We're late.
Yeah, no, you're absolutely right. We can, honestly, the best way to do that is for us to have an offline conversation, and I will personally help set that up.
Okay.
I will personally help set that up, and then you can use your networks to distribute that how you see fit. I would, a lot of this is who you're in relationship with as an organization around not only the state but around the nation, and how we engage those folks. And we have tools where we can pull together call sheets for you all and to work with y'all to figure that out. Nope. Be my pleasure.
All right. Well, we'll have something updated, guys. We're gonna focus on what Greg Willis has said with Phoenix Strategies, and hopefully next week we'll have some type of update. And I'm sure we will, Greg, because this is
Okay.
critical. And
No, no,
and I
yeah,
want to thank you so much for being on the show, coming on here,
Yes.
firing us up,
Yeah.
Hmm.
and giving us some updates on. Look, they're pulling the rug from everywhere, guys. And
yeah,
could they
Yeah.
have done this if we were already doing what we need to do now? No, but
yeah,
but this is where we're at. You know what I'm saying?
yeah,
We don't need
yeah,
to cry
yeah,
over
yeah,
spilled milk and say,
yeah,
well, you're the
yeah,
one and you didn't vote and you voted for. It doesn't
yeah,
matter. We're here now.
yep,
So
yep,
thank you. Thank you, Greg
yep,
Willis. Did you want to leave some contact information, or do you
yeah.
want to just come
You
on
can,
next week?
I can, I can do both.
All right, let's
You
do
can
it.
reach me at gwillis at phoenixstrategies.co, not com, .co. Gwillis at phoenixstrategies.co. And you can call me. I mean, 202 4255.
All right. I'm putting that in the chat, guys. Those of you that are online watching us on Facebook and YouTube, you will see that information in the chat because Greg said so. Thank you so much,
Thank
Greg.
you, Greg. Thank
All
you.
right. Thanks, guys. Appreciate it.
Oh, man.
Hi.
We appreciate you more. And we'll see you guys next week on the Wake Up Show as well. All right. So Deborah, wow, you have been instrumental in asking and answering some really good questions. This has been an amazing, amazing episode. Thank you for coming on. I'm
Thank
so
you.
happy
Yes,
to have
indeed.
had you across from us today. Any closing thoughts?
You know what? We just got work to do. We cannot, because it's overwhelming. I mean, to be quite honest with you, stuff coming from every different direction. You cannot put your head in the sand at this very moment.
Hmm.
You need to roll up your sleeves and get to work. That's the biggest piece of advice I want to give to any and everyone listening. That we got work to do.
Yes, yes. It reminds me of that song. I
Yeah.
Got
got work
work
to
to do.
do.
I got work to do.
Indeed.
Hey.
And I would say, don't be for us and the listening audience, don't be discouraged by it. This is something that we're not used to. We've always, whenever we've stepped up to the plate, we've always exceeded. So
Yes. Well,
let's
I
get to
want to.
work.
Yes, let's get to work. Let's work and let's work together. Because I'll be calling you, Deborah, right after this show.
Oh,
'Cause we
yes,
need to work
listen, we have
together,
to.
y'all.
We're
All
going
right.
to go so much further.
Thank you, sweetheart. All right, watch this, guys. I just want to reiterate that the VIP dinner cruise, the annual VIP dinner cruise that's sponsored by all those lovely sponsors that I mentioned and all those lovely people I said that would be there are going to be there. And I think Miss K bought her ticket. I got a notification. Watch this. I said next Thursday because it's Saturday. Okay. I was taught that you say next up to Saturday. And then when it's Sunday, I can say this Thursday.
Yeah.
But this Thursday coming up, y'all, okay? Not any other Thursday, but the one that's coming up on June 26th. That's when the cruise is. You can't mistake that. I want to thank you again, Miss Deborah Olivia Farmer, and our Washington correspondent, Greg Willis, and my guest co host, Lorenzo T. Hughes, also the
Yes.
assistant
Yes.
producer up in this piece.
Thank
And
you.
thank you, Dr. Larry Ivory, for even allowing this platform to go live each and every week because Black media is so important. I'm going to really continue to say that. I want you guys to know how important Black media is. Anytime you see the word media or someone has a publication, a newspaper, an article, a blog, a show, or anything, it doesn't hurt you to hit like, subscribe at all. It forward moves that mission, no matter if you're too busy scrolling that you forgot to hit the like. Guys, you got to be intentional. Okay. This is another way of supporting Black business because Black media is where our voices and narratives are shaped. I must
Mm.
say that, especially when you know about it. Come on, somebody. All right. So make sure you register for that VIP dinner cruise for June 26th. Do it today, though. Okay. It's hosted by the Illinois State Black Chamber of Commerce and sponsored by Wind Creek Casino Southland and many other sponsors like ComEd and Constellation, and the list goes on. And guess what? We'll be back on I'll be back on WVON on Monday on the all new afternoon show with the T with Buchanan. But you better be on that cruise because I'm gonna be looking for you. Okay, come up and say hello to all of us so that we could put a face with the voice and the emails. There you go. All right, that's it for our show. Lorenzo, We out.
We're out.
Bye-bye for now.
As we amplify voices, break barriers, and illuminate the path towards a more inclusive tomorrow. Follow us across the socials at The Wake Up Show Chicago. Be sure to like, subscribe, and share. It's The Wake Up Show every Saturday morning at 9, where change begins with every sunrise. Welcome to The Wake Up Show Chicago.
That's the end?
The talk of Chicago is 1690 WVON, Sherwin, Chicago.
Hi, this is Dr. Ansel Johnson from Vision Salon Eye Care Associates in Blue Island, Illinois. Good vision is closely tied to good health, and at Vision Salon, we connect the dots for you. If you're living with prediabetes, diabetes, hypertension, or autoimmune conditions, our personalized eye care and lifestyle advice can help preserve your sight for years to come. Experience award-winning care from a team that served our community for 35 years. Call or text at 708-385-0013. Again, 708-385-0013 and book your visit.